Welcome to For the Love of Books, a podcast by North Lanarkshire Libraries. Hi everyone, welcome back to the North Lanarkshire Libraries podcast For the Love of Books. My name is Chris Wilson, the E-Services Librarian, and today I am joined with Gillian Hunt and Judy Maguire, who are two of our Customer Services Librarians as well. And the topic we thought we would come to you and talk to you about today was pretend holiday beach reads, because at the moment we don't know if we are going to be able to go on a sunny holiday anywhere. We're still waiting for those restrictions to be lifted, so we thought we'd kind of pretend we were going on one and see how it goes from there. So guys, we're still waiting to find out how much are you missing being able to go to kind of sunny holidays abroad. Gillian, you've went in nice abroad places before. Are you missing getting out and about?
I am. Yes. I feel it's starting to kick in. Got a caravan booked for not too far away, so I'm really looking forward to that, no matter what the weather's like. But I think, sort of knowing that it's like year 2 now, and you're not going to get away sort of for a good break. I'm missing it. Yes, I'd be lying if I said no.
And Judy, what about yourself? Are you longing to fly away somewhere nice?
Well, yeah. We're still holding out the hope that we might get to visit my aunt who lives in France. So we weren't able to do that last year, but we're still entertaining some hope that we might be able to do it this year. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it would have been happening this year, but I think just the fact that we can't go, it's made me longing for my love of Disney World to be able to go. However, that probably wasn't realistic in the first place anyway, so maybe it's just the restriction of not being allowed to go that's what's making.
I know. It's hard when you've got wee ones, because they always say about holidays with children is just childcare in a different location. So
So, is reading always play a big part in getting away on a sunny holiday for you guys? Well, Gillian, what's your thoughts on reading while you're abroad, on holiday? Is that always a kind of thing for you?
Oh yeah, because it's just that sign that you are actually stopping, taking a breath, relaxing. I mean, people always laugh because you always say, "I'll never have time to read" when you're a librarian, but a lot of time you don't. I think people think that your job is, I'd love to be a librarian, just sitting and reading all the time. Hello, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So it's almost like what I really like to do as part of going on holiday is like, picking my books to take with me is like, and I always still do take real books. I don't, have a Kindle or anything, but I do like picking my books, like picking 3 books maybe to take away on holiday with me. And that's part of the getting ready,
That was like a dagger to the E-Services Librarian's heart there, slating the electronic resources.
I do, but I don't read them when I'm on holiday. That's the time where I just have no, real regular books. Sorry.
That's all right. I'll forgive you. And Judy, what about you? Is it a big part of your holidays, being able to kind of get away and get reading on holiday?
Yeah, I think it's a big part of going anywhere, but I think there was one disastrous year when I unpacked my case and found that I hadn't put the books in that I had carefully chosen to take with me and was looking forward to, and they just weren't there. So I actually ended up having to buy quite overpriced books, and I can't even remember where it was now. I remember that about it, but I don't remember which country I was in. But I remember having to search for something that I could read, because I just think it's terrible to be anywhere and find yourself without a book.
Yeah, funnily enough, when you mentioned about overpriced books, it wasn't necessarily the price I noticed, but whenever the last time I was abroad, I was in America, and I felt as if the actual quality of the book wasn't up to the kind of same quality that you get over here. It was the kind of paper and things like that just wasn't the same kind of like quality paper that you get from publications over here.
Same with chocolate. In America.
Yeah, that is also true.
Candy.
So what makes reading such an essential part of a beach holiday then for you guys? What's the kind of sort of main reason for why it's kind of well thought of in terms of, and one of those things that people always make sure they pack whenever they're going abroad on a holiday. Judy, what do you think it is that makes it such an essential thing?
Yeah. To be honest, I probably might not read on the beach because I just think it's quite messy. that you end up with your book full of sand and, suntan lotion and probably a bit of seawater. So it would probably be more, if I was lucky enough to be somewhere with a balcony to sit in the sun,
Very
and
nice.
read on the balcony or even at the pool, but probably not on the actual beach. But that's just me.
And what would you join? What's your thoughts for why it's maybe kind of such an essential part of?
I think it's just that whole thing, like, you've got a full day to do what you like, really. You don't have this. You are in holiday mode, and it's just sort of like, what will I do? Oh, I'll just read, because I don't actually have any. It's my holiday, and I'm with Judy there. I would probably prefer to sit in a balcony or a terrace bar or something like that, and just have a bit of reading. And do that
with
way.
A nice glass of wine, maybe as well.
Yeah. And just relax. But yeah, just sort of like, to have a nice view and just be relaxed. And it's just that knowledge that, yes, you are just taking that step back, breathing, and just, getting stuck into a good book where, sometimes, just to sort of binge a book, where you just wouldn't get that normally in real life. You could just do that, just sit and read all day.
Yeah. For me, I think it is that kind of escapism thing. Like, people do kind of use holidays as that kind of getting away from the kind of stresses of their kind of maybe work life and things like that sort of stuff, and kind of reading on that kind of trip away does mean that you kind of get that kind of added escapism as well, because you're kind of escaping into kind of the imaginary world of whatever it is that you're reading about and things. So that's kind of why I think it's probably quite an important part for people as well. And is there any certain type of books that you guys think make a really great holiday read for whenever you're off on the holidays? Joy, what makes a great holiday read for you?
I would say, I actually, again, I would go back to like picking a book. So maybe if there's a book, I'll be like, no, I'm going to keep that from a holiday. I would keep books. I would, say I'm going to, that's a book that I want to savor. I want to sit and read it in really big chunks. I don't want to be picking up at night when I'm tired. So I will set books aside and keep them for holiday. I have made the mistake of, like taking one time, it was like set in Siberia in 1948 or something like that, and like reading it in Mallorca, it was just like, this didn't happen. So yeah, I know like people like that kind of beachy type read. So I think, sort of maybe setting a, sort of setting the scene and reading something, it's maybe sort of like holiday-ish or warmish, tropical, or
that idea of creating a kind of reading list just for going on holiday, it makes me wonder how big that reading list of yours may be at this point, since we've not been able to go on a proper holiday for a while.
Exactly, I know.
Judy, what about yourself? What the types of books makes a great read for a holiday for you?
What I really like is if you can read something that's set where you actually are.
Right.
And one of the best experiences I ever had was when we were actually in Crete and we were going to visit Spinalonga, which is the leper colony that Victoria Hislop's book The Island is based around. So we actually went to Plaka, which is the village where they stayed before people who were unfortunately sent to Spinalonga. And it was just amazing. Like, all the places that were mentioned in the book were things that we could see and that we were actually there. So I really quite like if you're in France, maybe to read a book that's set in France, or I just think that that's really quite nice.
Yeah,
you can identify with what's going on in the book as well.
I can see how that could add an extra dimension to the book that you're reading, kind of being in the place and being in the culture that it's set in and things like that. That's kind of a good idea, I think, for that. And as you both mentioned, you do like to take in actual physical books with you rather than e-books. My heart beats a little bit every time I say it. Yeah. What's your thoughts on leaving books behind in hotels and places you stay in and things like that? Obviously not library books, because we would never do that. But I mean, obviously you do go to these places and sometimes you do find like kind of reading the shelf and things like that. Would you leave your book behind once you've read it in your hotel? Gillian?
Yes, I would. Yes, yeah, I have done. Yeah, and I've picked up other books as well. I quite like doing that, actually. I quite like leaving my books and sort of, gifting them to other people. Only even if I've not enjoyed them, probably. But if I've really enjoyed it, I would leave it and let someone else, enjoy it as well. Yeah.
It tends to be library books that I take on holiday. So, it wouldn't be appreciated by North Lanarkshire if I donated them to a hotel somewhere. Yeah. But I mean, if it was my own book, I'd be quite happy to do that. But as I say, it's normally a library book that I would have with me.
I suppose it does kind of give you a little bit extra luggage space as well if you get rid of the books out your
yes,
your
yeah.
I have to admit I'm a bit of a book hoarder. I don't like getting rid of my books, so I would feel probably quite difficult to get rid of. But one of the things I do remember, whenever I was abroad one year, I took one of the World Book Night books that I was given to gift out and left it for the maid of the hotel room, and she left this nice wee note about it afterwards, and I just always kind of remember that it was quite kind of a sort of heartfelt kind of wee note from the maid about like really appreciating being left a book because you never know.
That's nice.
Which was nice. That was a nice wee touch. And if we can't get away this summer, because as I say, we're kind of still waiting to find out. Have you found your outside reading spot that you guys would be kind of looking to kind of find in the hope of a good British summer this year? Who knows if we'll get the sun or not? We may get a nice bright sunny summer in Britain. Have you found that ideal spot that you will kind of try and replicate the kind of those balconies that you are thinking of whenever you're going on holiday? Judy, where would you likely to be reading, do you think?
Well, recently we've been walking quite a lot in Pollock Park, which is a big kind of estate. Or in the olden days it was the estate for Pollock House, and even although we've been quite a few times, we discovered bits of it that we'd never seen before. And there's bits like you can actually go through the trees, and there's and it's actually called the Quiet Space, and it's just lovely, and the park can be really busy, but this bit of it isn't. And so one day we took our sandwiches there. And what was really nice was that it was a couple sitting, both reading their books in this place. And I thought, that's a good idea. And you just get, when it's a sunny day, you get the kind of dapple of sunlight through the trees. So I think that might be my space of choice.
That sounds like a lovely little place. A nice little nook that you've found in the middle of a kind of usual busy park, which is nice.
Yeah, Gillian, you can sit on a tree trunk. Sorry, you can sit on a tree trunk and read your book.
Get back to nature while reading a book. That sounds good. Gillian, what about yourself?
Yeah, well, I mean, I quite happily sit anywhere. Yeah, I mean, I do like a nice park bench and, a cup of coffee, and happy to do that as well. But as I say, I'm looking forward I'm going to be to a caravan, and it's going to be on the beach in the Solway Firth. Lovely. And so I am looking forward to that, and it's got a nice beautiful view right out onto the beach, so I think that's a perfect spot. I won't be sitting on the beach, I'll be sitting on the balcony of the caravan, but that's a really nice spot to read, actually, if the sun's on you. It's nice. Hopefully it's not, hopefully it is rather this summer. So that's going to be my reading spot for that's what I'm planning my books for at the moment. Yeah.
And if it isn't quite so good weather, you'll be able to sit inside the caravan, hear that kind of tinkling noise on the roof as it rains.
Absolutely.
That can also be quite a relaxing sound as well.
I know. Do you know what? Actually, it is. It's really cosy. Yeah. The alternative Scottish summer. Yeah. It is. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. I think my outside reading place is probably my garden, but it's kind of somewhere that the sun kind of travels as the day goes on, and so kind of you have to kind of like chase it as it goes round the building. So the reading spot kind of has to change as the day goes on if you manage to be out there for a long time, which is kind of fun to try and kind of find the perfect location as you have to go round and find points where you need to get out of the sun sometimes if it's too warm. So but now on to the really important part of the podcast, though, the reading recommendations for what would be your kind of big pretend holiday beach read read recommendations for anyone this year. Gillian, what are on your reading list? You were saying that you set them aside, so this should be fairly easy for you.
Yeah, well, how long have you got, really? Because I know I keep adding to it, as you say. Well, do you know, actually, funnily enough, in the run-up to this, I haven't really been reading as much as I normally do. I don't know, it's just the whole lockdown, pandemic, just sort of, I've been turning to what I call, my fluff stuff. My sort of light-hearted things, I haven't been reading my sort of heavy tomes, which I've been reading before. So, I've just been in that Bridgerton mode at the moment, I call it at the moment, where I've just been watching Bridgerton, binge watched it. And we actually we've been buying some of the Bridgerton titles for the library, and we've got some in borrow box as well. So I might try one of the Bridgerton novels. I'm not sure. I might try one of them. But I've been reading, some of my sort of go-to feel-good authors, So I've been reading some author I love is Mike Gale. I love Mike Gale, and so I just finished his last one, which was Half a World Away. Which, if you love reading through tears, it's just like lovely, fantastic, such a good book. So his new one is called All the Lonely People, so it's out in hardback, and so I'm looking forward to that one. So that one's definitely on my list, new Mike Gale. And I was thinking I might go back and reread Marion Keyes. I just finished her Grown Ups one, which came out last year, and that's fantastic as well, and that's a great read, really, really good. So I'd maybe go back. I'm thinking I might go back and reread some books as well, which I don't normally do. And I do like, again, going back to big books as well, and sort of maybe it's time to like read a good biography or something. So I was thinking about Barack Obama's Promised Land, but it's about 800 pages. I'm thinking, can I manage that? So my backup choice to that would be, if I was going to read that, I would read Sharon Stone's autobiography. It's called The Beauty of Living Twice, which apparently is really fantastic. It just came out, I think just end of March, I think. And I don't know if you know, but she had a stroke, or she had 2 strokes. And it's just all about her life and sort of moving from that world, and then just sort of having to deal with different things to do with the after effects of her stroke. And it's been getting really great reviews, so that's sort of like a biography I'm really keen to read. And again, I was just going to catch up on authors that I've liked and then want to read a wee bit more of, and I've picked 2 crime authors. One is Joseph Knox, who's a crime writer, and he writes his characters are based in Manchester. And so I'm going to read a wee bit more of his. He's actually got a new book coming out this summer, which is based on a true crime story, but he's fictionalised it. But I'm going to catch up on some of his before his new one comes out. And the other one's a Scottish crime author, Claire Askew, which we've had here as well. So I'm keen to read more of her crime novels. And that's what I'm going to catch up on. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
What about yourself, Judy? What's on your hit list for the holiday period?
Yeah, well, as I said, I quite like things that are set in different countries as holiday reads. And I mentioned The Island. So, of course, now there is a sequel to The Island, which is called One August Night, and that's Victoria Hislop. So I haven't started it yet, but I do have it in my hot, sticky hand. So quite looking forward to reading that. I can't say that I'll be going to Crete this year, but nonetheless, looking forward to reading that. There's an Alexander McCall Smith book that I read. It's called My Italian Bulldozer, and it's set in Italy, which is not surprising by the title. And it's about the main character goes to hire a car, and there's nothing left apart from this bulldozer. So he decides just to take that because he's got a bit of a journey to go on. So it's kind of about his adventures travelling through Italy on this bulldozer. And he's also a food, so he's going into restaurants and things that he's going to be writing up about later. So there's descriptions of all these lovely meals that he has as well. And I just think that's always really nice, the landscape, the surroundings, and then the wine and the food. And so that's a good one. And it's kind of, it's very gentle, and it's humorous and a little bit poignant, but it's going to have a happy ending somehow. So I think that's quite a nice holiday read. I also quite like books that are hot. And I don't mean hot in any kind of sexual sense, but
Aw.
you know, there are a few books I think that are written around the heatwave in 1976.
Okay.
I know you'll be far too young to remember that sort of thing, Chris, but Gillian, maybe
I
you're
do.
just about
remember
old
it.
enough. But the Joanne Cannon book, The Trouble with Goats and Sheep, that's set in the
that's right, I
heat
think I
wave
read.
of 1976.
Mhm, mhm.
And it's about like two wee girls, really. I think they're like 10 and 11. And someone from their street has disappeared. So, I mean, it's almost like a kind of grown-up Enid Blyton. You know, it's they're trying to solve this mystery, and they're trying to put together bits of things that they've heard adults talking about and try and make sense of them. But obviously, it's, you know, unlike in Enid Blyton, the characters do have some depth, and there are sort of grown-up issues.
Less
But
ginger
there's
beer,
always-
more.
well, there's mention of things like Angel Delight, which if you're old enough again, you might remember as a 70s classic, and Baby Sham and things like that. So I quite liked all those kind of references as well. And then like the Maggie O'Farrell one,
Yes.
Instructions for Heatwave, that's the 1976 heatwave that
Exactly, yeah.
we're talking about.
mhm.
So I quite like books that evoke that whole kind of, you know,
Mhm,
everyone being too hot and
mhm,
everything, you know, the land being dry and needing water, and you can almost feel it, I think.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
So these are some of my recommendations. On the contrary, and I hope your caravan is not like this, but I've
Mhm.
also just started reading Summer Water by Sarah Moss, and
Oh.
it's set in a Scottish holiday camp
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
in the rain. And
Funnily
so
enough.
the whole book takes place over just one day, which is just this day of absolutely relentless rain. And it's about, you know, the different characters, and, you know, you get all the kind of backstory to where they come from and what's happening in their lives, but against this whole background, and you can just picture that as well, of a grey Scottish day with rain and more rain. So, but that's a good one as well.
Cool.
I do think it's quite amazing whenever authors can kind of manage to kind of write a book over that kind of just a really short period of time like that, because it's basically like trying to kind of write out like the extend the story out that long, but for it just to kind of cover that short period, it must be quite a difficult challenge to do, kind of from a writing point of view. And so it's be quite interesting to kind of see how she manages to do that. So yeah. One other thing before we go, obviously we have reopened some of our libraries. So how has it been getting back into the libraries for you guys? It's been a long wait to kind of get our doors back open. How are you feeling being back and welcoming some of the library members back into the library? How's it been going, Gillian?
Yeah, it's been great. Yes, again, everybody is just really pleased to have us back, you know, and just appreciative that they can come back in and pick more books, you know. Just chatting with people, you know, obviously I think people have got used to it by now as opening and closing and opening again, but you know, people have sort of adapted in other ways, and you know, getting lots of tales of, you know, sharing books with their neighbours, starting little reading groups with it in their streets and sharing books, and finding new authors. So I've had quite a few people in saying, got a list of new authors, I want more books. So I hope more than anything that has really ignited a love of reading more in people, you know. What about you, Judy?
I think people have really appreciated the fact that we have got so many new books.
Yes.
Because, you know, we'd had a lot delivered, and so they've not just been coming out gradually because we've not been opened. So it's like this big splurge of new books. And I think people coming in, I think on the Monday when we opened, people were like, oh, wow, there's such and such, and there's this and there's that. And they were actually genuinely quite excited about it.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I think people have really worried about having books at home. You know, this has been due back 5 months ago or something. And they're so relieved just to get, here it is, I brought it back. And it's just a relief for them to, probably because their houses are full of books and things, but
that's it.
I know mine is.
I know. But I think as well we'll probably be like, probably be recreating some sort of like displays for beach reads or holiday reads as well, just to sort of keep that alive, because we normally do that. I mean, we'll probably not be putting the travel books out this year, but maybe just keeping it local, keeping it in the UK, and sort of celebrating the great outdoors and what's on your doorstep, and as well, and then encouraging.
On the day that we went back, the Christmas display was sitting there looking a bit forlorn, because that was the last day. It was like the Mary Celeste. We just walked out and there it was. So good to be able to change that for something a bit more seasonal.
Absolutely.
It's fantastic to see that people are getting back in. I've kind of paid a little visit to Airdrie and to Coatbridge Library in the last week or so, just to kind of pop in and get some photographs and things for our social media and things like that. And it was lovely to see people coming in and being able to enjoy the service again. And we've had some nice kind of comments online as well about people missing it and being kind of really looking forward to getting back in to kind of change up their books and things like that. So that it has been kind of nice to kind of hear that we've been missed, which is everybody likes to be missed, don't they?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Let's just hope we can stay open. My fingers crossed that we can stay open over the summer, and
that would be the best holiday wish if we could have one. If we can just keep ourselves open to provide books for anyone who is going to be getting away on holiday. So that'd be a lovely way to have the library service working. Well, thank you much, guys, for joining me for this episode. It has been good fun kind of hearing what you guys think of holiday reads and things like that. We do have more episodes of the podcast coming our way, so do watch out for more podcasts coming. And Gillian, I think you're up for the next one with a book
I am,
special.
Yes, book week special.
And as we have mentioned, we are back open, so you can come and visit 9 of our libraries at the moment, and with more reopening soon as well. So do watch out for more information on that. And always, you can also still use BorrowBox as well. So do kind of look into downloading the BorrowBox app and getting your password for that if you need it at www.culturenl.co.uk/password request. If you have enjoyed this episode of the podcast, do leave us some feedback using the hashtag FLB podcast on Twitter, or by dropping us an email to librarypodcast@northland.gov.uk, and we'll be back again soon. But that's all for us just now, guys. Bye for now.